Welcome in Craft and Design 3.0. For my dear audience, in this video I will describe some different and much beautiful ideas of metal, nut and bolt, craft ideas, or making different things for different purpose. So dear audience, when we talk about a metal, nut and bolt workspace, then different question arise in our mind like is what define a metal nut, or what is the function of a bolt and nut, or what is a bolt and specification specifically explains. So what is the principle of nut and bolt? Nut are almost always used in conjunction with a mating bolt to fasten multiple parts together. The two partners are kept together by a combination of their threads, friction with slight elastic deformation. So, slight stretching of the bolt and compression of the parts to be held together. So, not in technology, fostering device consisting of a square or hexagonal block, usually a metal, with a hole in the center having internal or female thread that fit on the male thread of an associated bolt or screw. So, a bolt or screw with a nut is widely used for fostering machine and structural components. So, my dear guys, when we talk about the function of a bolt and nut, then both the bolt and the nut grip the materials being fastened and creating a bolt joint with the nut also preventing axial movement. So the effect of a bolt joint comes down to the axial clamping force provided by the nut and the shank of the bolt, which acts as a rod that presses the joint against sideways and shear forces. So, what is a bolt? A bolt is an externally helical threaded fastener capable of being tightened or released by a twisting force or torque to a matching nut. So, the bolt has an external male thread requiring a matching nut with a preformed female thread also. So, my dear guys, if I talk about the principle of nut and bolt, then their principal function is to create a clamping forces and across the joint, which is able to sustain the operating condition without losing. So, correctly tightened bolt make use of their elastic properties to work well. They must behave like springs. So how do metal nuts work? So a metal locking nut is a basic but effective design. So the triangular mark on its side is formed by a special stamping tool which warps the top thread of the nut. So this creates a very tight thread which provide a locking mechanism, making it resistant to losing. So, what is the meaning of a metal bolt or metal rod or pin for fastening objects together that usually has a head at one end and a screw thread at the other and is secured by a nut? So, a roll of cloth or wallpaper of a specified length also. So, when we talk about nut and bolt and its type, a thread bolt screw into nuts to hold a or fasten material together. So, bolt types include eye bolts, wheel bolts, and machine bolts. While type of nuts include cap nuts, expansion nuts, and U nuts. The type of material and finish also factors into how fastener type look and perform. So why are bolt used? Bolt are commonly used for one of two reasons where disassembly might be necessary or where a secure and adjustable connection is needed. So bolts are typically used in construction, automotive and machinery. So screw fasten screw also fasten component and joint materials such as wood, metal, and also plastic. So, my dear guys, one my dear audience, lovely audience, question me that why are bolts important? Because it is clear from this blog that bolts are critical parts of any construction project. Say it is bolt that keep tall buildings and small machinery in place. If you fail to choose a quality bolts or neglect to go with quality of ones, then your entire project can fail. So, what is the full form of a bolt? Build, operate, lease, transfer. One my dear guys question me, what is the full form of bolt? Build, operate, lease, transfer. In different countries, economy, the different name we can use. So, what is an example of bolt? My dear guys, I hear the sound of a bolt being slowly and reluctantly slide open. So he reminded her that he would have to lock and bolt the kitchen door after her. So the horse bolted when a gun went off. I made some excuse and bolted for the exit. So, what is the name of a bolt? Some is American name and British name in set bolt, or when we talk about a British name, then tab bolt and set screw. So, as a set screw and grub screw in British name, but in a shoulder bolt or shoulder screw in American name. When we talk about in a Britain name, then it is called we a striper bolt and tension control bolt also. So some component of nuts and bolt steel is the most common material used for making nuts and bolt and fastener material. So apart from this alloy, steel, silicon, bronze, brass, aluminium, chrome, titanium, plastic, and other exotic material are also being used for manufacturing of this product. So how do bolts work? The bolts shaft prevent the parts from moving laterally sideways relatively to each other. So the bolt head and the nut prevent parts from moving away from each other. So the clamping force generated by a correctly torqued nut and bolt joint prevent parts from moving radially, rotating relative to each other. And what is the composition of nut and bolt? The recommended composition for industrial grade nuts and bolts raw material include the some carbon, phosphorus, and manganese also. So, what is the metal nut made of? They are typically made of low carbon spring steel. So, they are called sheet metal nut because they feature two sheets material or prong on the back and also when a bolt is inserted into a sheet metal nut, the sheet metal prongs contract inward to secure the nut in a place, in different categories. So my dear guys, I think that my video and my these nut bolt idea inspired you much, and if inspired then subscribe my channel and like my video and share my video with your affectionate love. And yeah, I also once again thanks my dear guys for watching my video. So thank you very much.